It looks like a good number of you are here. So I'm going to turn the first session over to Cindy Veach, who will host our first group of readers. And thanks again for coming. Take it away, Cindy.
Thank you. Can everyone hear me okay? Well, thank you all for being here. It is a pleasure to co-head it with Jen, I have to say. We always receive so much incredible work. And Marjorie gives us, so much freedom to just choose the things that resonate with us. And it's always interesting when we do these themed issues because, we have something in mind when we come up with the theme, but we're always surprised by what we receive and the interpretations of the theme, which, ages and stages. I mean, it was really remarkable how creative people were with that theme. So I'm going to read the names of the first group of readers, and then I'll also read each name as it's your turn. So first is Allison Blevins. And I apologize if I say your name incorrectly. I tried to Google like a YouTube performance someone might have given to try to get the name correctly pronounced, but I couldn't always find something. So Anne Grauer, Barbara Henning, Shalise Thayer, Christine Jones, Emma Gomez, Heather Sweeney, Heidi Seaborn, and Hillary King. So our first reader is Allison Blevins.
Thank you. It's so nice to be here. I'm going to be reading my piece that's in the issue. It's titled, My Daughter's First Period. That morning, my son told me, I don't know how to fit in the world. Later, a poet friend wrote to me, you have to carve your own spot. My son is good and smooth. In photos, we are young together. In photos, it is easy to see us both without our bruises, without trauma. I bury photos in boxes in the utility room, the closet, and garage. My daughter is 10. I was 9 and went to softball practice after. My mother gave me a pad, told me a tampon would hurt me. My mother is 72. She called today to tell me she no longer believes in Christmas. I put in a tampon before I went to practice. I lost my belly once in a laundry room smoking. I'd squatted to keep warm, door open to the northwest winter air, my feet flat on concrete, thighs pressed into breasts. Days and months in that house, high, without food, piled up, twirled around, a sterling fork in my belly left me. Suddenly, I was a new body, a shape I couldn't even remember climbing into. I miss the classic beauty of cigarettes, how we bent our wrists, held our fingers like thin-boned witches, commanding water, worked spells with our mouths. What science and danger the lungs held in our chests, the swirl and sing of oxygen, tingle and dust, all that once felt like living and feeling, like the high of not extravagantly dying, like how an evergreen or a blue frosted ball like nostalgia. The day after I lost my belly, I told my mother, I can't speak to you anymore. She wanted me to leave that house, leave that girl I'd followed there. I was trying to redefine nostalgia, like love had only ever been that girl. But now I would snatch those lost years back, wrap them in paper tightened with raffia twine, and gift them to my children. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Allison. Thank you. Our next reader is Anne Grauer.
Hi, thank you so much for having me and for accepting my poem. It's a persona poem of an ancestor, a great grandmother I never met, about her son, my grandfather, who I also never met. So, when I was my grandfather's mother, next to the Neosho Our farm sat on a hill facing down toward the pecan grove, toward the cabins we rented to farmhands and their families. The children went to Oak Grove, learned in one room. Elizabeth, smart as a whip, wanted to be a teacher, but Clarence, my youngest, felt the bully's sting more keenly. It left welts of despair on his back and legs, turned him away from school, walking home in his German shoes, taking his accent to the farm where he'd work, the fields, raise children and livestock, grow sorghum and wheat. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Anne. Our next reader is Barbara Henning.
Hi, I'm going to read a piece that was published online with Marjorie. It takes exactly 3 minutes to read. It's a prose poem. Fern, you taught me how to fold towels and sheets. You taught me how to separate the dirty clothes into various piles. You taught me how to hang clothes on the clothesline. When you were taking care of our new baby, I took care of my baby doll. You taught me how to line up cans of soup in rows in the cupboard. You taught me how to clean the woodwork, and you paid me 2 cents for each wall. You taught me how to cut out little circles and stitch along the edges, pulling them into pouches, then flattening and sewing them together. You invited all the little girls in the neighborhood to our quilting party. When I was very young, you were beautiful and energetic. When I was 10 years old, you were very weak and skinny to the bone. The phone was always ringing. You had 3 sisters and many friends. You were a Sunday school teacher and a Cub Scout den mother. Women in the neighborhood would come over for coffee. You'd chat, smoke, and talk in the kitchen. When I was very young, we dressed up and played cocktail lounge on our coffee table. When I was a little older, you told me secrets about your life as if I was your friend, a first husband, your boyfriends, your discontent with my father. After winding my hair into pin curls, you patted my head and sent me to bed. When I was worried whether I really believed in God or not, you reassured me that if I was worried, then I had nothing to worry about. Be kind, be helpful, go to church. You taught me how to wash and dry dishes, how to boil a potato and mash it, how to make a hamburger. After you died, I'd pretend I was sick and stay home from school, looking through photo albums and watching old movies from the 40s. I remember people talking about the size of the crowd at the funeral parlor. I remember hearing my father say they had to open another room for Bernie. I refused to recognize a stepmother who arrived a year later with a very strict set of rules. No one could replace you. As an older adult, I researched your life and times and wrote a book about you. This morning, I realized I haven't been thinking about you that much lately. My life as a child now like a small shrinking room filled with blue sky, and I'm on my bike pedaling down the street. It's 20 degrees today outside my window. The sun casts a light orange over the towering oak tree as its branches waver in the frigid air. The forecast for Tuesday is 10 degrees warmer than on Wednesday, even warmer. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Our next reader is Shalise Thayer.
Yeah, thank you. I'm also going to read something from not this publication, but something else. Also in the thread of motherhood, though. You're standing in front of your living room window, staring outside at the sunshine, the neighbor walking the dog, and you're bouncing a baby on your shoulder who, for the last 30 minutes, has been inconsolable and is finally calming down, beginning to relax his body, hands opening from tiny fists, and you're thinking to yourself how someday you could imagine being the person outside right now. All you want is for this baby to fall asleep because your arms are shot, your nerves are shot, you feel like your head is a palm tree and your eyes are cable dishes, and then, blissfully, the baby is asleep. Here you begin the countdown. You tell yourself you'll do this sway, the one that hurts your calves, for 2 more minutes, and then you'll lay him down. But almost immediately, the moment you're sure he truly is asleep, you begin to imagine holding him a little longer, maybe sitting down and watching the Olympics with him in your lap, or reading a few chapters and eating a snack in your nursing chair while he sleeps on your shoulder. And you're thinking to yourself, how could I possibly put him down right now? He will only be this big for such a short amount of time, and soon he'll be a toddler that never falls asleep on your shoulder anymore. So soak these moments up while you are able. And then you remember, wait a second, I was just fantasizing about going outside, and now I don't want to put the baby down. You tell yourself, this is ridiculous, just put the baby down. And you lean over to place him in the rocker, and he gives a stir just a little, and you think to yourself, come on, baby, give me a break already. But he stays asleep. You mean to back out of the room slowly, but you find yourself staring down at him, watching the way his lower lip pulls in and out of his mouth every time he breathes. That's it. Thanks.
Thank you so much. Our next reader is Christine Jones. Christine.
Hi, everybody. Thanks for hosting, Marjorie and Jennifer and Cindy and everyone for being here. I'm going to read the poem that was in this issue. It's titled Her Future Death. It will be dawn. She will lay lingering, warmed by the cumulus of her comforter. No longer wearer of bright yellow dresses, seeker of amorous adventures. This old woman won't be afraid. Won't explain the vibration in her bones, will release the beads she preys on. In her future, she will choose a skywriting jet. She will let loose her gray lit hair and leap. A wild validity will gather her pale yellow dress, fold her into the sun. She won't notice the onlookers peering from a passing carrier, staring into the blaze. She'll be spinning, giddy, gulping the rush of air. Soon ocean, her ocean. She will gale past the gulls, call out their names. Joy, love, Michael Earl. Thank you.
Thank you. Our next reader is Emma Gomez. Is Emma here?
I think she's not here, so.
Okay.
Okay.
Oh, okay. Then our next reader is Heather Sweeney.
Hi, everyone. I'm Heather Sweeney. Thanks so much for having me. I'm going to be reading my creative nonfiction piece that was in this edition. It's called High School Graduation. The best seats are already taken by loved ones apparently more willing to wait outside closed doors where the blazing sun mocks our business casual attire. Although once we're inside, it doesn't take long to find a full row of folded chairs to fit our blended family. Where once seated, I can't stop fidgeting. Even when the ceremony begins and one name after another is called, and my feet tap involuntarily and my fingers mindlessly twirl long strands of my thinning middle-aged hair, alongside a pounding in my ears as if I've been holding my breath too long underwater. And then suddenly I see him stand in a herd of green and follow along in his alphabetical line until he's front and center, the focus of attention. And I hear his first name that we don't call him because he goes by his middle name, and his last name that doesn't match mine because of the divorce. And I wish time would freeze as he walks across the stage in his signature stroll, and I squeeze the wadded tissues in my hand that had become so saturated with tears that they're rendered useless. And of course, everyone expected me to ugly cry, even the mascara that hid itself at the bottom of my makeup bag, until I ran out of patience to find it and ultimately swiped extra lipstick to compensate for my naked lashes. But now that all the names have been announced and the herd of green has marched outside, I search for him in the frenzied crowd, restraining myself from sprinting aimlessly, from bobbing up and down, dodging cameras like an obstacle course, until my cell phone rings and he says, "Mom, where are you?" And seconds after we hang up with a flimsy meetup point, I'm standing in front of him, looking upward to catch his eyes that are a shade of blue I don't think I've ever seen before, maybe pride tinged with relief. And he lets me hug him for a beat longer than I know he'd prefer, appeasing me with photo requests from every angle, with every member of our blended family, until he breaks away to join his friends. And as I sneak glances from afar, taking mental snapshots my camera can't capture of the unstaged moments, of his pure joy and unforced smiles, the wind whips long strands of my thinning middle-aged hair into my face, temporarily blinding me. And when I clear my vision, he's nowhere to be seen. Thank you.
Thank you, Heather. Our next reader is Heidi Seaborn. Heidi.
Thank you. Well, thank you, Mom Egg Review. It's a beautiful issue, and oh my gosh, it's wonderful to see everyone and to hear your voices. And thank you, Cindy and Jen, for choosing my poem, which I'm going to read. It's in the form called a Walt Marie, which is named after two poets, Walt and Marie, and it consists of 10 lines. And every other line is either 10 syllables or 2 syllables. I actually have, it's a slightly broken Walt Marie because I have one that's 3 syllables, but we'll just pretend it fits the form. And then the 2 syllable lines, so every other line makes up another poem. So I will read the full poem and then I'll read the poem that runs along the spine. It's called Geographies, and it's for my daughter, Hallie. When a body that is not my body, but is of my body, inks her body, I feel the needle. I left my mark on you at birth, and you on me, a slight incision to ease birth and a stitch erasing that moment of separation. Your body rising into otherness, and I into a mother's body. Now inked with age, its own distinct geography of scars and furrows. Yet these lines of mine run from my brow to yours, as if our thoughts are tattooed, mine indistinguishable from yours. And now the little poem. Needle erasing body of mine from yours. Thank you.
Thanks, Heidi. That was such an interesting form, which I did not know of till we received your poem. So thank you. Our next reader is Hillary King.
Hi, thank you. I'm going to read a poem not from the issue, but one I think is on theme. It's called Men at the Grocery Store. Men at the grocery store. Time was I knew them all. Randy, the manager, Richard, the butcher, the other butcher I talked football with, go Falcons. The creepy bagger, too eager to take my bags to the car. If there was a man pushing a cart, he was someone's husband, out taking his turn, or he was the agreed upon better shopper, not exhausted by 19 aisles, able to be emotionally distant from the cake display case. Maybe he was just extremely picky about beef and beer. I'd say hello, then text the wife. Saw Craig buying steaks. When's dinner, LOL? Now the aisles seem roadblocked with men, young or not yet old, in headphones and t-shirts, kneeling easily to reach the bottom shelf, pulling cans with one hand, scanning them into apps with the other. Proxy shoppers. Gig work this, and I should have treated it as such on the long slope of motherhood. Constant chore, this pushing ideas around a maze. What would make Wednesday happy? What would solve Saturday's panic? Does my life amount to 15 items or less? I could lament that men are coming for what was once our world, laying another stone in the dungeon of patriarchy. Yet it's me marketing still trains the God eye on. Why else the daffodils by the register, $5 a bunch? I want to buy them all. Ram my cart with its wonky wheel down the corporate throat. Or not shop at all. Let everyone starve. Let them learn to feed as mothers must, in handfuls snatched between crowded hours, on sour-tasting love for places we grow to know far too well, the playground, the sideline, Safeway. At least I should glide more lightly down the aisles, emulate these entrepreneurs, these men, never questioning why or who put the sugar in this cart, this second bottle of wine. Thank you.
Thank you. So that completes our group 1 of readers, and I'm now going to pass the baton to Jen.
Hi, everybody. It's wonderful to be here. It's wonderful to hear these poems in your voices. I just want to say how grateful I am to be working with this great Mame team and with Cindy, and how honored and privileged and humbled I feel when I read poems that come in. I'm a poet also. I submit work, so I know that it's an act of trust to send poems, especially about motherhood, out. So I'm really, really grateful for that honor. Okay, so group 2, we'll go in this order. Juan Pablo Mobili, Kali Lightfoot, Cara Daly, Laurel Benjamin, Lois Romy Daly, Lydia Gwynn, Maria Mazziotti Gillen, and Megan Merchant. And we'll start with Juan.
Thank you, Jennifer, and thanks to the Journal for having me. I'm honored to be the stowaway man in this issue, and in the company of so many great poets. A poem for my mother. Writing to you in the other world, for Maria Esther. Your face remains as animated as ever in my memory. But your voice only says what you always said yes to, or what you still say no about. You've probably been counseling the young girlfriends of lost boys in the underworld, or perhaps teaching again your 3rd grade class, this time to angels, sobbing because their parents dropped them off on the first day of school, away from their existence, and wings are barely consolation for their loneliness. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Our next reader is Kali Lightfoot. Is Kali here? I don't see her. I don't see Kali. Okay. Our next reader is Carla Daly. Sorry. Carla.
Hi, I'm going to be reading my poem, Litany. Your first date with Prince Charming will be Pee-wee's big adventure. It will be a test. You will pass. You will lie on grass by monuments, under pink black midnight. You will flirt over hash browns at Tasty Diner. Praise for the metro stop. Praise the coffee cup. You and Charming will sleep to the trumpet of elephants from your zoo nest. Praise for the fanfare. You will try and try and try and try. You will lose and lose and lose and lose. Praise for the longing. You will have a boy, the soul of a dove. You will be there like the stars. Praise the aching breast. Praise the firmament. You will watch your father's last breath. You will lead your mother by her cool hands. You will not save her. Praise the whisper, the familiar clasp. Your son will branch up, leaf out, and you will offer him water even after rain. Bells of laughter will still peal when you and Charming stay up late. Praise the loam, the filtered sun. Praise for the carillon. Your dog will sleep on your bed. He will rest his head on your foot and bark when you cry. Praise the gray muzzle, the howl.
Thank you so much, Carla. Our next reader is Laurel Benjamin.
Thank you, Jen. So I'm going to read the poem that's in this issue, and it's called Brushed. And so we argue in silent tree trunks where the owl hunkers, shoehorn blue. Mother, Are we swerving to avoid our own claws? I've spent hours listening for the howls, knees bent backwards. If only we were soft pulls rather than delineated waist and hips. If only I could ply through your feather layer. Once I found a towie, sidewalk smashed, shallow breaths, watched half closed and wondered why we explore beyond reach when we could preserve the blue glow, brushed with purple shadows, an orange tint that can't be named. Is it endurance we seek or what follows? Thank you.
Thank you, Laurel. Thank you so much. Our next reader is Lydia Gwynn.
All right, I'm going to be reading one of the flash fiction pieces from this issue, and it's called Bluegrass. It's morel season in East Tennessee, and I search our woods. I search the edges of the driveway and the gravel there, which acts as a substrate, and where, in seasons past, I found the biggest specimens growing. Once there was a gray morel the length of my hand next to the tire of my husband's truck. My son, who's nursing a broken heart and who's been sad in his room over a girl most of the weekend, joins me. My daughter joins me too and brings her Easter basket. And though he usually joins us, my husband is cleaning out the shed, ridding it of all the things we've stored there over the years. A broken lawnmower used only for parts, our children's tricycle that used to house rocks of all sorts in its plastic trunk. I know morels are here when it's time to file taxes. I know morels are here when my son's birthday is on the calendar. They're here when the ramps come up in their bladed patches of green and after the first rash of bloodroot and trout lily. They're here now. I can feel them. I just can't find them. My search is a slow process of pulling back wet blankets of leaf litter and looking for the pitted brains of their fruiting caps. Like a philosopher dissecting bodies, searching for the soul, a grain of rice in a field of cartilage. In the summer, these same spaces will fill with the crepey purple of wild geraniums and the bladder blooms of yellow and orange jewelweed. Usually when my children search with me, they find all sorts of morels, gray, black, golden. So many hours we bend over the woods and stare deeply into its floor, few words between us. Just like when we vacation at the beach and bend over the shore searching for shells or shark's teeth. Until today, I never realized how much time I spend with my family searching through nature, looking closely at soil or sand or gravel, trying to find the break in the pattern, the black triangle in the tide, the spiral in the static of the sand. When my son finds a morel, he calls out to us, and my daughter and I vacate our spots and gather around to see the hollow mushroom, a still living thing, like a jewel in the open cabinet of the hand, or a song on the radio, a bluegrass tune twanged out over the airwaves. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Lydia. Our next reader is Lois Romadilli.
Hi, from Arizona. Want to thank everyone on the team for this wonderful issue. I'm going to read the poem from this issue, and it is part of my new manuscript, Waiting for the Mercy Ship, which will be published by Broadstone Books next year. What Mickey Mouse taught me about despair. In my childhood, there were terrifying stories, like the Sorcerer's Apprentice, summoning spirits that can't be controlled. That army of faceless brooms, their unstoppable marching, and the buckets and buckets and buckets of water filling the vat, flooding the floor, flooding the room. What lesson was there to be learned as I sat stone still in the dark theater, horrified by a cartoon mouse frantically running through each scene? The staccato punch of drums hurt my stomach. The bassoons and horns turned in circles of relentless tunes, booming, ruthless, unending, cruel rhythms, thundering their way into my throbbing head. My whole body sagged, too heavy in my seat. I couldn't move. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Lois. And Kali Lightfoot has entered the room. So Kali, you're up. Kali. We'll come back. We'll circle back. Okay, next reader is Maria Mazziotti Gillen.
I'm going to read the poem in the issue. I love mysteries on TV. I like watching British mysteries on TV. So grateful for streaming services where I can watch one episode after another of some programs like Vera or Endeavor or GCI Banks or any of the other wonderful shows I need to watch because they make me feel transported to another place, another time. I love Agatha Christie. I love Miss Marple or Poirot. I've been to London and France, but their world is not my world. And the world in these issues, in these mysteries, sometimes set in far off corners of England, is not one I have ever visited. For half an hour, 2 hours, I am living in that place, seeing the dark clouds over northern England, the views of the industrial landscape of so many of these shows. And while I watch, I can believe I am part of the story. I'm sure that I'm nosy as any detective. I'm certainly as driven, but I'm too much of a coward to ever be a detective. I watch them. I watch frumpy Vera with her weird clothes, and I'm drawn into her life. Now so silent without you. I can forget that I can go up a stairs in my own house because I am no longer able to climb stairs. I can forget that I now sleep in the twin bed in my family room and not in the mahogany four-poster we inherited from your mother. When I am watching, it's like being beside you, sailing on some magic ship that takes me to another place, even places that are dark and cloudy and moody, like the scenes in Vera. Why am I watching them? While I am watching them, I feel I am behind them, walking the same shadow, like some shadow attached to their lives. I could leave behind my own life, beautiful and exciting in its own way, but not in the way these people live. I used to find that kind of escape only in books, but now I prefer my escape through these programs. I am grateful for both the programs as well as the books I've read, which have given me a life I could never have had on my own.
Thank you so much, Maria. Wonderful to hear that poem. Kali, if you'd like to read, make sure you unmute yourself.
Yeah, I'm sorry, my controls all froze for a few minutes. They're back again now. So, panic. I will read a note to my family's sterling silver. I tried, I really did, to make you part of my life, to put you to good use, to bring you into the light and enjoy your graceful shapes, delicate etchings, your specialness, reminders of the table set with you for Thanksgiving, Christmas, Easter. You've spent so many years in the dark on closet shelves or in bottom cupboards away from 3 times daily bustle in my small apartment kitchens. Left to tarnish
No child here assigned to rub you to brightness again. Named Treasure by your designer and treasured by my mother. You were a wedding gift in 1927. An appraiser told me you are worth $500, melted down for your silver. But the memory of my mother's joy is worth more than that to me. So I thought I would use you, replace my clunky old stainless apartment ware with your elegance. It was lovely to be so often reminded of Mom, her smile and how much she loved to cook and bake, the art and science of it. But soon you just made me sad. She died so long ago, and we knew so little of the cadences of each other's lives. So it is with regret in this 21st century that I packed you away in your felt-lined wood box and put you back on a closet shelf under the World War II Navy scrapbook and pictures of Mom's unknown flapper friends from the 1920s. All of it now, like you, priceless, beloved stuff.
Thank you so much, Carly. It was worth the wait to get to that poem. And the final poet in group 2 is Megan Merchant.
Hello, thank you for having me, and congratulations, editors, on such a beautiful issue. I'm going to share a poem from my forthcoming collection, Hortensia in Winter. It's coming out in October with New American Press. Otherwise. A friend asks, "How are you doing otherwise?" Jalapenos wilted on the counter, sugar ants dotting the floor. I change the dingy flower water, wipe dog piss that rises like anger and foul the house. Otherwise. If you Google dissatisfaction plus women, you can find ways to hate the sheer weight of being. While I'm told that a bone protruding body is a lovely thing to behold, I'd rather have exercises for shedding the pounds of emotional labor. Besides, I need to be able to hold my son, grown too large for my lap, after his brain seizes and talks into sadness. When he was born, everyone told me to sleep while he sleeps. Maybe that is where I lost my own dreams. Otherwise. I overhear a man at the coffee shop say, "It doesn't make sense having this much control over my own happiness." I have learned the trick for lightening stains from every shape so that you would never know it was ever there. Hortensia, I fill your nightgown like smoke.
Thank you so much, Megan, and thank you for that beautiful cover art. And the final group, I'll turn this over to Marjorie.
And I should unmute, right? I can't believe we're at the final group. That was such wonderful work. It's still resonating with me. I do want to take a moment and say that if you don't have work in this year's issue, we are open for submissions. And we do ask that you skip a year if you have work in an issue, but if you did not have work in this issue, we really do hope to see your work. And you can go to our website, merliterary.com, and hit submit, and you'll find out all the information about that. So I am putting into the chat our ultimate group of readers. And again, there's the virtual program link on top so you can see people's bios. And also, I apologize if I say your name wrong. Please, when you come up, you can say it the right way and correct me. Our next group of readers are Megan Miraglia, Natalie Solmer, Paulette Guerin, Robin Delabo, Sarah Browning, Susan Michelle Coronel, and Tina Barry. Megan, you're up.
Hi. Thank you to Jen and Cindy and Marjorie for loving and believing in this poem, and thank you for giving it a home. If you would like to follow along on your copy, my poem appears on page 30. Mother is daughter is mother. My mother is a good daughter. My mother is a good daughter. My mother is a good daughter. My mother is my mother. Is my mother a daughter? My mother is my daughter. My mother a daughter. My mother is my daughter good? Is a daughter good? Is my good? Can I be a good daughter? Am I good? Can a daughter mother? A mother is my daughter, a mother. Can a daughter be good without a mother? Can a mother be good without her daughter? How can I be a good daughter to my mother? I can be a mother to my mother. I can be good. Do you love me because I can be good? My mother, she can be my daughter, and my mother is her mother's daughter, and my mother is good. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Megan. The next is Natalie. Natalie Sommer.
Hey, thank you so much for having me. This is from my forthcoming debut collection, Water Castle with Kelsey books in the fall. So it's called I Am a Great Lake. My youth was Everclear, spilling, slicking the table, its decks of cards, the phones that didn't exist in our pockets or hands, but euchre. We learned it in school, playing in our plaid skirt uniforms. My friend licked the liquor up. All of us licked the liquor up until I had to stop, until alcohol became old as me. I am as old as the rusted out minivan we drove around in, blasting the score. I am as old as the bats that swarm the summer evenings around the baseball stadium lights, the empty factory's brick facade behind them. I am Studebaker's brick facade, old as a summer evening, Smirnoff in a 7-Eleven Slurpee, my sandal thrown out the van's window as we drove to the forbidden beach, up the highway to the Great Lake. I am a Great Lake so old, girlfriends singing, no one knowing our location, as old as midnight, as sneaking in my mother's door, just in time, old enough now to become my mother's door. Thank you.
Thank you, Natalie. That was lovely. Next is Paulette Guerin.
Thank you, Marjorie. Thank you, Jennifer and Cindy and everyone who's here, and so many amazing poems. I'm super encouraged and want to just go right after all this. So this is from the issue. It's called Becoming. Tiny cold hand in mine, I guide her around puddles, broken pavement. She points at the silver flash of a vinyl balloon caught high in a branch, visible now the leaves have gone. She turns to me. I love you more than the whole and tired world, she says. The earth has just 7 continents and 4 oceans, but they are big. None of it will last, but for now, here it is, tired as only a world can be after being frozen, thawed, frozen. She loves me more than this world, which must be a lot. Wind pushes the scent of singed leaves, clouds heavy with red Moroccan sand. I can see everything from here, things she cannot. The world and its chemical scars, the trenches, the bodies it has loved, the secrets it has swallowed, the secrets it was made to swallow. God rested on the 7th day, but the world did not rest, has never rested. And yet God loves the world, some say, or God is aurora, ash, ululating water. My daughter, we haven't known each other for very long, except we have always known each other. Earth's sheer size, all the flowers worth loving, or the bald cypresses, knees just above water. She hasn't seen a purple gallinule, a hummingbird hawk moth, the surprise lily gone tomorrow. How can she know she loves me more? What is the world, she asks. I say, let me tell you a story. I said to the world, I'm tired, you're tired. Let's do something new. And the world, are you willing to trade everything? I said, teach me about love. The world curled up and slept, and I walked years before I found an answer. When you were born, you looked at me as if to say, are you ready for this? Thank you.
Thank you. Are you ready? I don't think any of us are ready. Thanks very much. Our next reader is going to be Robin Delaba.
Yes, thank you. I'm so humbled by this reading. The poets are just incredible. So congratulations to all of you. I'm going to read a poem that is not in this issue, but it's a companion poem to it. The poem in the issue begins, I hate being old, and you'll see why this one is a companion. Slack water. I love being old in this world, where baby mussels and crabs make necklaces on the sand. You have to take off jewelry if you are a stage manager, which I was in my 20s, or if you fly on a trapeze. My daughter gave me trapeze lessons for my 60th birthday. At 70, I ziplined over the Hawaiian canopy with my youngest sister. I like being the oldest. Piping plover, staring out to sea as if seeing the invisible, guard their unhatched. Mine have hatched and had their own babies. The 4-year-old can already bodyboard on whitewater. I got to do that once in Bali. The Balinese rode flower-festooned elephants in a circle around one long row of teenagers who had had their canine teeth sawed. My friend was angry with me for wandering off during the ceremony. We didn't know her brain was already lacy, fragile. I am old and can remember almost everything, but I will never be able to name everything. Neap tide, dame's rocket, bent grass, silica, gilt-head bream, round-leaved bone set. The folly tree arboretum has a clone of the sycamore tree Hippocrates sat under to teach. Hippocrates lived for 90 years. My father, also a physician, lived until 88. Maybe I am alive because of both men. You walk through a forest of history at Folly Tree, offspring of Hibajakumoku, the ginkgo that survived Hiroshima. My master's thesis was on Frank Oppenheimer, Robert's brother. Maybe I'm alive because of both brothers. You hike through red maple and beech to reach the George Kane Memorial. A firefighter who died on 9/11, he did not get to love being old. Maybe I'll say I'm 91, so hiking 8 miles sounds more impressive. Hippocrates said diet, rest, and massage were essential. The Yellow Emperor's classic book of internal medicine, written 5,000 years ago, mentions massage. Brooke Astor had massages until she was 100, despite her brittle bones. My hip bones are as porous as sandstone, but I'll have a massage every day. Here on the continent's edge, I can still climb a tall white chair as if guarding an unborn planet. I love being old in this world, where death is like flying. Thank you.
Thank you, Robin. Thank you very much. Beautiful. Okay, next we have up Sarah Browning, please.
Thank you so much, Marjorie. And what an incredible evening. Holy moly. Huge thanks to Jen and Cindy too, and to all these beautiful poets and everybody for being here. My poem drops the F-bomb, just heads up. And it's from this gorgeous issue. Borrowing happiness from tomorrow. It's so dry this year, the sycamores are shedding their enormous leaves, palms of crackle and nerve littering the yard mid-August, while exhaust from futuristic mowers, the city halls from rec center to rec center hangs gray over our neighbor Jones' roses. We require the morning, the atmosphere, we say, to absorb it all, faultlessly, noise, exhaust, our fecklessness. I woke at 5 this morning. It's cooler for a change. We'd thrown the windows wide in celebration. And as I fretted my bladder and whether to wrench my suddenly old and heated body from the bed, clearly heard 3 words. No, no, no. Argument? Orgasm? Or perhaps, like me, the man calling no was reading the news, all we've taken from our children and theirs. A hangover, borrowing happiness from tomorrow, my son at 7 decreed when first I explained it, clutching my sorry head. We're sorry. We're all so fucking sorry. Thank you.
Thank you, Sarah. And next we have Susan Michelle Coronel. Okay, Susan.
Hi, this poem is from the current issue, and it's from my full-length poetry manuscript. If Alice Neal made a portrait of my mother, houses have eyes. My mother's crepe skin would gather like ruffles of crinoline. Alice would include my mother's most essential object, an extra roll of 3-ply toilet paper, a television, and dozens of framed photos of the grandchildren. If my mother posed for the portrait, her spine would curve like the Earth's penumbra, her flattened hair speckled with bald spots. For a backdrop, she'd select blue and white striped wallpaper, blue to match her eyes, white to signal surrender. If Alice painted my mother's genitals, she'd paint them tan with gray and white streaks, acrylic paint still wet on the brush. If she opened my mother's refrigerator, she'd find expired ketchup, crisp lettuce, and low-fat cottage cheese. If Alice and my mother traveled together to Cuba, my mother would use her limited Spanish to ask for cake and tea. Un pastel y un té, por favor. Alice would stare at men in alleys before requesting to paint them nude, marveling at their balls. If Alice invited my mother to her apartment in Spanish Harlem, my mother would sit on a stoop because she could not manage to climb up the 4-story walk-up. Alice would laugh, twirl her hair like cotton candy, and share slim neck bottles of pop. If Alice was my mother's therapist, she'd confess that she too had lost a child. She'd suggest that my mother return to painting, landscapes, to dress her wounds and connect with the creative impulse. If Alice redecorated my mother's house, she'd replace half the walls with windows, because the best portraits are made in glass houses where light can freely stream through. She'd plant roses of Sharon everywhere, even in the cracks between cement walkways and slate patio tiles. If my mother followed Alice's advice, I'd be as distressed as I am today, but believe more fiercely in my art. I'd lie in my mother's lap, scented with turpentine, watch silverfish in dresses float above her hair. Thank you.
Thank you, Susan. Thank you for that beautiful poem. And we have reached our final reader, who is Tina Barry.
Hi, thank you so much. And thank you, Marjorie and Jennifer and Cindy. These readings are so beautiful, so moving. Thank you for that. I'm going to read No Grief Like a Bird's. Mother knows nothing of fall's fickleness, only the smog of medicine, tang of tired diapers. To reach her, I pass nurses, deluged in data, residents, wheelchair dosing. One summer, a mourning dove smashed into my bedroom window and died. I was told the bird's mate for life, and its partner sang of heartbreak, an innate awareness of loneliness. Mother defines loneliness as a husband too briefly known, her great love, or a scoundrel. She's a tsunami threatening tulips, fitful as weather. I am too. I'm young again, steering a stroller, sleepy baby inside, both of us dreaming of dinner. A dove hurtling against the pane, stunned by its sudden end.
Thank you so much, Tina.
Thank you.
And here we are at the end of our beautiful reading. Apologies to latecomers who missed some of it, but I just want to let you know that in a week or two, we will be able to have the reading up on our MER YouTube. And anything you missed, anything you want to hear again, you'll be able to hear it. So brief commercial message. If you liked what you heard, the issue is available both in print and in PDF version. The PDF is only $5, so that's less than a coffee. The print version is beautiful with Megan Merchant's gorgeous cover. And so I hope you'll consider that. If you click the link to our virtual program, you'll see ways to get either the PDF or the print version. I just want to thank my co-hosts Cindy and Jen. The beautiful readers. Your work is so close to the bone, so real, so well observed, so articulate, and so deeply resonant to me. And to hear it in your voices is just the icing on the cake. So thanks all who came and listened, and was a lovely attentive audience.